has hit the entire eastern half of the country. Temperatures plummeting as much as 30 to 45 degrees below average. Bone chilling, and I mean bone chilling. If anybody has traveled back east from, yeah, I've talked to friends in Minnesota. They said it's so cold back home in Iowa. So now you toss in the wind chill, and it can lead to frostbite, and it can lead to frostbite really quickly if precautions aren't taken. And Matt Iseman, Dr. Matt Iseman is here with us, and of course Henry's going to sit in on this segment. It's good to have you here, Doctor. Well, first of all, let's talk about the big freeze that really is happening right now.
It's, we take it for granted being out here in LA how nice it is, but so much of the country is getting pounded. They're calling it the Siberian Express. Cold air is coming in. There are 27 states affected, over 115 million people. They're getting temperatures as cold as 25 to 45 degrees below zero. I think we've got a photo. Niagara Falls is frozen. That's how cold it is right now.
The falls?
The falls, yes.
Wow.
Oh my.
Wow.
It is, and in areas, you look at the thermometer and it might be low, but keep in mind with the wind chill factor, it can feel even colder. I know we've got some temperatures in the Chicago area. It's just...
Look at the map.
And when temperatures are this cold, in a matter of minutes, you can start having real health consequences.
So let's talk a little bit frostbite. Everybody hears about getting this.
Go through the stages.
Well, first of all, what is it?
Right. Well, you think of frostbite, it's such an innocent sounding term, and we think of Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Frostbite is literally the freezing of the skin and possibly some of the tissue underneath. And you see it on the extremities, the areas where you have the greatest surface area, the areas that are most exposed. So the fingers, toes, your nose, your chin, and your cheeks. Those are the areas that are most vulnerable to it. Right. And it can happen from cold air, or like me, if you're an athlete, sometimes you're icing an elbow, or if you just have ice on skin long enough. So here we've actually got superficial frostbite going on.
Right. So what's the difference between frost nip and frostbite?
Well, frost nip is the first stages of frostbite, and this is you can see the reddening. There's a kind of harsh reddening in the area around there. This is the next level.
Wow.
And by the way, just wanted to tell our viewers at home,
a little late.
When you see, when you see, we know that this is difficult to see, but we feel it's important to share this.
Oh, absolutely.
So people understand exactly what can happen, so protect yourself.
Wow. So with the frost nip, the skin, you're going to perceive your skin as being cold. You'll have some of that reddening in the area, a little tingling. And if you've ever slept on an arm, you kind of wake up and it comes back to life with the pins and needles. That's what you start feeling with frost nip when it comes out. Now, superficial frostbite is a little bit more involved. That's just not the skin being involved. That's also some of the tissue underneath. The skin's going to turn white. You'll actually be able to see ice crystals forming in the skin. And here's a sign you'll know that something's going wrong. Your skin's going to actually, paradoxically, start to feel warm. And this is letting you know that the nerves are getting involved. Your body's signals are starting to go haywire.
Dangerous sign.
It's a dangerous sign. As you thaw out,
go ahead.
As you thaw out, you'll start to see some mottling. It'll get look bruised, and we saw those blisters there. That's the damage that's been done to the skin.
Is that permanent?
That with right treatment, that can be, the skin can end up healing. Now, deep frostbite, the most severe frostbite, that's literally can be bone chilling, where the damage goes all the way to the bone. Yeah. So it's not just the skin, it's not just the fatty tissue, it can be the muscle and the bone that's involved. At this point, you're going to lose sensation in the joint. You'll start to lose function. This is when serious damage is done. And at this point, you absolutely, obviously need medical treatment.
How long does it take to get frostbite?
In temperatures as cold as this, it can be a matter of minutes. And
really?
You're not always going to know.
Severe?
This severe will take a little bit longer, but for people who have certain medical conditions, if you have diabetes, diabetes can cause problems with vascularization. You're not getting as much blood flow. You're not getting the warmth to the area.
Right.
People with diabetes are particularly susceptible. Elderly people who may not be as cognizant, may not be aware of the feeling. People who are drinking with alcohol. People take a little bit of alcohol to warm up. Alcohol actually speeds the heat transfer away from the body, makes you more predisposed to frost nip. So if you're out and you think a little hot toddy is going to warm you up and keep you safe, it's actually the opposite.
Wow. How do you treat frostbite? Can you treat it yourself?
Well,
is it, obviously,
it depends on the stages.
Level, you're going to a hospital.
And so, look, if there's any doubt about it, go see a caregiver. But the first thing to do is obviously get out of the cold, if it's possible.
Right.
And the other thing you want to do, though, is somebody suffering from frostbite, there can be more serious health consequences going on, hypothermia. And with hypothermia, look for someone who just can't stop shivering. If someone seems confused, if mentally they're slowing down, they're a little sluggish, again, get them right to the hospital. But the thing we want to do is cover up the skin and protect the skin if at all possible. And if you're out with your fingers, you have a lot of blood flow that goes into the armpit. There's a reason it's warm. Putting your fingers under there can help keep those extremities warm. covering up the
you
skin,
go.
keeping it dry.
Kids know, right?
Anytime,
Related to
and we
that
were talking about this
naturally.
earlier. You talked about these
hate
wicking
being cold.
underwear.
Yes.
It's really important.
I wear fishing socks that wick the
Keeping the moisture
perspiration.
away from the skin is so important because that water, again, speeds the heat transfer, makes you much more susceptible to.
I usually wear the comforter off the bed outside.
That is a good way to go. But it's honestly, if you start thinking about the ways to treat it, it's one of the things people will do is coming up thinking of putting their hands right by the fire, putting them on something warm. It's a really dangerous thing to do because, again, when you get frostbite, you're going to lose some of the sensation. You can't tell how hot something
if
is.
it's too hot.
If it's too hot, you can
frostbite
end up burning yourself. The way to do it, find water that's about 90 degrees. Just if you can stick your elbow in right away and not have to pull it out, that's a great way. Just put your hands in there, splash the warm water on. That's a great way to warm up. And take anti-inflammatories as well.
Do you know what is amazing to me? And when you hear all of these things that we have to be aware of, the fragility of being alive, the care that we make it through a day.
It is amazing, but that's why for
I feel that way every day.
For people who are in the cold weather, so much of it is just preparing.